Here's a look at your market recap on this Monday, the 11th day of August. Won't necessarily say that the cattle futures bounced back following Friday's massive sell-off, but they did close in the green today, so that was a positive sign given how much the expanded limits could have hurt if things had continued to go lower. Cash markets, they continue to climb higher. Both of our tracking measures once again setting all-time new record highs. The CME Feeder Cattle Index, based on an 800-pound steer up through the 12-state feeding region, 341.04. And then the Missouri Stocker formula, based roughly on a 550-pound steer through the auction barns in Missouri, 415.20. We'll take a look at some of the more of those much higher prices at the auction barns here in just a few minutes. But first, I'll get you caught up on the Missouri Crop Progress and Condition Report that was released about an hour ago or so. For the week ending August the 10th, 6.6 days suitable for field work in the state. Topsoil moisture rated 2% very short, 14% short, 73% adequate, and 11% surplus. Subsoil moisture, 2% very short, 10% short, 80% adequate, and 8% surplus. Corn silking has now reached 97%. That compares to the 5-year average of 97%. Corn in the dough stage at 79%, which compares to the 5-year average of 76%. Corn dented is now at 24%, and that's just slightly ahead of the 5-year average of 23%. Corn condition rate at 1% very poor, 4% poor, 20% fair, 57% good, and 18% excellent. Soybeans blooming reached 84%. That's pretty much right in line with the 5-year average of 83%. Soybeans setting pod at 59%. That compares to the 5-year average of 58%. Soybean condition rate at 1% very poor, 5% poor, 19% fair, 64% good, and 11% excellent. Pasture conditions basically unchanged from last week, 3% poor, 12% fair, 73% good, and 12% excellent. Alfalfa cutting, the second cutting, currently at 91% complete, which compares with 5-year average of 96%. Third cutting of alfalfa now at 47% complete, which compares to the 5-year average of 50%. Other hay excluding alfalfa at 95% complete, and the 5-year average at this time is basically done. NASS really doesn't calculate into any fall hay cuttings for other hay. They just basically look at the first cutting for the most part. Taking a look at box beef cutout values. Choice closed up $2.68 today at $381.52. Select up $4.52 at $359.61. Those values based on 65 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. The Choice Select spread at $21.91. Negotiated feedlot trade last week, when all was said and done, 55,791 head of confirmed negotiated sales. Just over 17,000 ahead of those were bought with time last week. The weighted average price on the live sales, $241.10. That was down $1.41. Select at $381.56, down $2.16. Monday, feeder cattle auction day at the Joplin Regional Stockyards. They started early today and already done for the day. When all was said and done there, they ended up with just a few more than expected, 8,338 head. The steers under 650 pounds, 3 to 18 higher. Heavier weight steers, 2 to 7 higher. Heifers under 675 pounds were steady to 6 higher. The heavier weight heifers, $8 to $20 higher. The largest lot of the day through the barn, 719 head of heifers, averaging 810 pounds, brought 334. The steers, medium and large ones, 4 to 5 weights at 422 to 510, 5 to 6 weights sold at 383 to 440, 6 to 7 weights 365 to 422, 7 to 8 weights at 327.5 to 380, 8 to 9 weights at 325 to 348, 900 to 1,000 pound steers at 313 to 325.50. The feeder heifers, 4 to 500 pounds, $3.90 to $4.35. 5 to 6 weights at $3.50 to $4.10. 6 to 7 weights at $3.40 to $3.90. 7 to 8 weights at $3.26 to $3.53. 8 to 850 pound heifers sold from $3.27 to $3.34. Taking a look at the closing futures markets on the Mercantile Exchange, live cattle for August, 233.07, up 52. October at 226.10, up 12, and December 228.47, up 55. Feeder cattle for August, 82 cents higher, 340.22. September at 340.60, up 22. October at 339.67, up 45. Lean hogs, August closed up 77 cents, 109.67. October at 91.77, up $1.10. December 84.22, up 45. Taking a look at the grain markets, soybeans 23 to 24 cents higher. Wheat stayed 1 higher. Corn 1 to 2 higher. Corn bids in St. Louis 407, Kansas City at 392. Soybean bids St. Louis 1008 to 1009. Kansas City at 966, and then wheat in St. Louis 484 to 488. On the Board of Trade, the first 3 months of the corn contracts all up 2 1/4. September 385, December 407 3/4, and March at 425 1/4. Soybeans for August 989 1/2, up 22 3/4. September at 991 3/4, up 24. November at 1011 1/4, up 23 3/4. Wheat contracts, the first 3 months all up 1/2 cent. September at 515, December 535 1/2, March at 554 3/4. Soybean meal for August up $4.30 a ton, $277.70. Soybean oil for August $53.29 a hundredweight, up 53 cents. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's a recap of your markets for Monday. This is Tony Hancock.